What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at the Saurian Republic, and indeed, we need to talk about a bunch of new cards coming out in Mass Mutation, and some of these are very, very fun. Weird and fun, I think is how I'd really describe these. And I think we need to start off with Amphora Captura, an artifact which is ridiculous. You see, we're getting new enhanced icons in Mass Mutation, and there are essentially 4 possible things that can happen. Either you gain an amber, you capture an amber, you deal 1 point of damage to one of your opponent's creatures, or you draw a card. Cool. You see, the thing is, these don't happen randomly. What happens is that you get cards which bring them into your deck, and then they are essentially thrown around randomly. Well, Amphora Captura brings in 2 amber bonuses, 2 damage bonuses, and 2 draw bonuses that essentially get thrown around onto your cards randomly. You'll see that Amphora Captura itself has a damage bonus. That is not something you always get when you get this artifact. In this particular deck, it's something that has been chucked on. That's ridiculous. That means that by virtue of this card appearing in your deck, you will get 2 more amber every time you go through your deck, 2 more damage every time you go through your deck, and 2 more cards every time you go through your deck. If we had a card that gave you a double amber bonus, let you draw 2 cards, and dealt 2 damage individually, that would be one of the best cards we've ever seen. I mean, Time Traveler is a phenomenal card, and that gives you 1 amber bonus and lets you draw 2 cards, and that's like, yes, we love this card. So bringing this card in, and you don't get it all at once, and that's what makes Time Traveler so good. All right, it's not an all-at-once kind of thing. It couldn't quite be. You can only get 5 enhancements per card. But theoretically, this could give you draw 2 amber bonus, 1 damage on one particular card. But the point is, those icons are going to be in your deck. And that is a really good variety of icons to go into your deck. But it actually gets better. It reads, when resolving a bonus icon, you may choose to resolve it as a capture bonus icon instead. Oh. Yeah, that's actually ridiculous. And it is particularly ridiculous for the Saurian Republic. You see, one of the things that the Saurian Republic does so gosh darn well is dealing with amber on it. So take Axiom of Grisk. When you play, you ward a creature, you destroy each creature with no amber on it and gain 2 chains. So Amphora Captura allows you to turn your bonus icons, and it says bonus, not enhancement, so I believe that means natural amber bonuses that cards generally have could instead be capturing icons, which would be awesome. And you can essentially make sure you get amber onto all of your creatures, then drop an Axiom of Grisk, and then all of a sudden all of your opponent's creatures go, but all of yours stay. That's a good thing. It's not the only thing we've got, of course. How about something like Ancient Power? Lets you ward each friendly creature with an amber on it. That means you give it a token whereby the next time it is damaged or destroyed or removed from play in some other manner, you just remove the ward counter instead. Centurion Stenopius, who gets +3 power for each amber on it. That sounds pretty good. I could keep going, but you get the idea here. There are lots of cool ways that we can use this. Now, admittedly, you're putting amber on your creatures, so your opponent can destroy them and get the amber. You need to manage that. But there are some really cool things you can do with this. Amphora Captura is one of those cards I look at and go, oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. You get to resolve bonus icons as capture if you like, but it puts those 6 icons, those 6 enhancements, randomly on cards in your deck. That is kinda brilliant. But why don't we move away from that now and have a look at another new card? Let's have a look at Consul Primus, a 3 power 0 armor creature, and it's got Enhance Capture. Now, this isn't quite so redonkulously over the top as Amphora Captura. It just puts a single capture icon somewhere in your deck. But you know what? That's alright. That's quite good. It's still a capture bonus. It's still going to be there at some point. I like that. But it actually goes a little bit further. Because when you reap, you get to move one amber from a creature to another creature. Hey, doesn't that sound an awful lot like Chant of Hubris? And it should. It's literally Chant of Hubris. It's Chant of Hubris and a reap skill. But that's perfect for the Saurian Republic. Because you see, I've already talked about the whole exalting thing that they do. And we've seen some capturing as well. And frankly, a lot of Saurian creatures end up with amber on. And there are basically two ways you can go with this. Either, there's some weird things like moving another amber over to Centurious Stenopius to really beef it up. But generally speaking, either you move an amber from your opponent's creature to you, and then drop something like an Axiom of Grisk, so you're destroying one of your opponent's creatures while saving your own. Or you move from your creatures to your opponent, because when a creature gets destroyed, any amber on it goes to the opposing player. So you exalt, and then you move the amber onto one of your opponent's creatures, then you destroy that creature and you get the amber rather than them. Yeah, there are some really cool things you can do with this card. It's Coming! Is another action card that we are getting for the Saurian Republic. It gives you an amber bonus. There is a damage on there, but remember that's an enhancement probably given off by Amphora Captura. And when you play it, It's Coming! Lets you search your deck and discard pile for either half of a gigantic creature, reveal it and put it into your hand. Now, we've not seen many gigantic creatures so far. We have literally just seen Deacylus. And gigantic creatures are literally two halves of a creature that you must play down together at the same time. And Deacylus is ridiculous, right? 20 power. When you play, you capture all of your opponent's amber and deal 5 damage to an enemy creature. And when you fight or reap, you move 1 amber from Deacylus to the common supply, because you captured all their amber. And you deal 2 damage to each enemy creature. It is a ridiculous, over-the-top, almost comically good card. But you've got to play 2 halves at the same time, and the difficulty, of course, is that you've either got to wait to draw both halves at the same time, awkward, or you've got to keep 1 half in your hand until you draw the other, which essentially chains you. Because then you've got 1 card you're stashing in hand, which means you're essentially drawing 1 fewer card at the end of your turn, as if you were chained. That is a bad thing. We don't like this. What we really need is some mechanism by which we can more easily get both halves of the card in our hand at the same time. And It's Coming! Will allow us to do that. I promise that's the last time I do that this video. I cannot promise I'm not going to do it again. It amuses me too much. It gives you an amber bonus regardless, but it's absolutely beautiful here. And it is a special rare. And special rare means there are particular parameters under which it will appear in decks, and presumably the parameters here are it will only appear in a deck that already has a gigantic creature. So at least they're making it a bit easier to get it into play. There is the concern we do need to think about here of what if it's too easy to get them into play and they end up being too good. But I don't think that's something to worry about right this moment. And the final card we've got to have a look at here from the Saurian Republic is another very strange one. Saurian Egg. 1 power, 5 armor, and it cannot fight or reap. Okay. It's got lots of armor, so it's probably going to stay around for a while, and it does give you an amber bonus when you play it, which is brilliant. But it can't fight or reap. You don't fight, don't reap. What do you do? Well, it's got an Omni ability. I wonder how many people actually got that reference. You discard the top 2 cards of your deck, and if you discard any Saurian creatures in this way, put them into play ready, give them 3+1 power counters, and destroy Saurian Egg. Oh. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. And that's the point here. It's an artifact. Like, it's definitely, I mean, it's not, it's a creature, but it's definitely an artifact. You put it into play, and it is exhausted. And then it's got an Omni ability. You can use it regardless of your active house. And you use it to get another creature into play, and it's got an amber bonus. It's an artifact. The reason it's printed as a creature rather than an artifact is so that your opponent can destroy it by battling. It's essentially time limited. You put it into play, it's exhausted, and your opponent gets until you ready it and use it to actually destroy it. And you're only discarding the top 2 cards of your deck. You might not actually hit a Saurian creature here. There's no guarantee that you will. And it basically lets your opponent try and get rid of it, whereas if they're staring down an artifact, either they've got artifact removal and they draw into it, or they don't, whereas here, you've actually got to give your opponent a really good opportunity to try and get rid of them. It's a very cool, very unique creature. Consider me a fan. These cards excite me. I know we've only got 4 new Saurian cards to talk about, I'm sorry, but there are some really, really cool things going on here, and I, for one, am pretty gosh darned excited. But I'd like to know how you feel. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Keyforge and a whole bunch of other games. And please do make sure you're checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all that good stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.